built different, and that is the guard from Overtime Elite, Jean Montero, 6'2" guard. I talked yesterday with Rafael Barlow about the challenges in scouting brought about by the introduction of G League Ignite, the rise of the NBL as a prospect pathway, and Overtime Elite. Why are you down on Montero?
Yeah, it sounds harsh. Like it's less down. I think it's more just I'm not sure what to make of him. Like he obviously was very productive at Overtime Elite. I think that he does some things with the ball in his hands that are really impressive. Like obviously a guard who can create, who can get his shot off. He has really good passing vision and feel. I thought, watching Nike Hoop Summit, which is, he was part of the world team at Hoop Summit. You got to see him play against some of the top prospects in this upcoming class. Um, I just felt in watching that, like obviously I think 6'2" is a very generous listing for John right now. Like um, I just watch him and it stands out starkly how small he is, and I mean that definitely worries me a little bit, especially in terms of his actual finishing and getting to the rim. It's less about that; it's more just how good he's going to have to be with an outlier with touch. Like thinking of somebody like Trae Young and what he's able to do with the ball in his hands. A lot of it's because of his outlier quickness and his touch, and not to be unfair to Jean, but he's not that level of passer and scorer. So I think obviously it's unfair to project somebody out to being an all NBA guy, but when you have margins that slim, you have to be really darn good to actually be on the floor. And I don't think that he's going to be close to a defensive positive right now, given where he's at on and off the ball. So I definitely think that he's somebody worth drafting for sure, but I think he's been mocked up around first round pretty consistently this year. Has dropped a little bit recently, but um, I'm I'm not really quite there with lottery. I mean, not lottery with first round for him.
Because it's not just his height, because he's really skinny as well. So yeah, being
Yeah,
small and then not having that bulk to necessarily drive, and doesn't have the same. John Morant's skinny, but Montero doesn't have that level of athleticism, quite
yeah.
obviously. How does it impact Montero just in terms of the perceived, I guess, well, you can correct me if this is how I'm perceiving it, the perceived lack of actual point guard talent in this draft? So, yeah, he might be, could there be an argument he's the third best point guard in this draft, yet still might not be a first round player? Does that help him where teams are going, shit, we just need point guards, we need someone who can pass, and there's just no one who can really do that in this class? Like, where does he sort of fit in that point guard hierarchy, and does that boost his stock just because of the unavailability of those guys?
Man, that's a good question. I think it's hard because even then, like like Kennedy Chandler to me is probably the best point guard in the class, because Ty Washington's more of a combo to me, and even then, I still think
I agree.
just in terms of guard prospects. Um, but it's hard. Like I think, especially with where basketball is headed and where it has been, like obviously guard play is very important, but I think we're just seeing more about having as many players on the court who can create as possible. I think my thing would just be Jean's probably like what's really hard is I think it's harder to look at him and just be like, you can be a bench guy for us, because it's harder to envision him slotting alongside off ball. Not that he can't improve as an off ball scorer, but that's not really his game right now. So I just think that there's lesser pathways for him if he's not this guy who is able to be a higher usage player on the ball.
Can he shoot?
He can shoot, but I think right now the question is going to be how good is it going to be off the dribble. That's what makes OTE a little bit interesting. Like I actually think part of what's been cool, like I think it's a really good setting to see what a guy's feel is, like how they play in an open run and how they handle, dealing with new things and decision making. As for actual shooting and facing real defenses, I have no idea how to project that out. Just being completely honest. Um, I think that it's going to be fine, but I don't think it's quite to the level where I'm all that in on him.
Yeah, it's going to be the challenge to be able to work out how do we translate overtime elite production
Hmm.
compared to college, Europe, NBL, G League. Like, where does it fit? How does it make sense? What's the level of competition? All that sort of stuff. And this is really the first time we're getting to see that. And he's probably going to be the first guy, I would guess, from overtime elite drafted. I would say no one else
Yeah.
has come off the board before him. So